All right, let's talk about something that gets all of us stuck in our own heads: overthinking the future. We are going to dive into why your brain just loves to cook up worst-case scenarios. And then, more importantly, I'm going to give you a really practical way to take back control. It's time to reprogram that internal alarm. Let's do this. So you've got a big presentation coming up, or maybe a first date, or you just have to have one of those tough conversations. And what happens? Does your brain immediately premiere a full-blown disaster movie, complete with a sequel? You see everything that could possibly go wrong, down to the tiniest, most embarrassing detail. Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you're in exactly the right place. And look, right off the bat, I need you to hear this. You are not broken. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Your brain is actually doing the job it was designed for. The only problem is it's running on some seriously outdated software. You could call it an evolutionary glitch, and today we're going to install an update. So first, let's get into the why. Why on earth does our mind automatically jump to the worst possible outcome? Well, it all comes down to this threat monitoring system that's been hardwired into us for a very, very long time. I mean, think about it this way. For our ancestors, that internal alarm was a literal lifesaver. It kept them on the lookout for, a saber-toothed tiger hiding in the bushes. But here's the glitch. In our world today, that exact same panic button gets smashed for psychological threats. A sharp email from your boss, a job interview, or even just a friend not texting back. Your brain's ancient software literally can't tell the difference. This whole process, it actually has a name. It's called catastrophizing. It's when a tiny little worry, like, oh, I made a mistake on that report, doesn't just stay a tiny worry. Nope. It instantly spirals into, I'm definitely getting fired and I'll never work again. And that creates this horrible, vicious cycle. The more you worry, the more anxious you get, which then tells your brain, see, this threat must be real, which makes it spin even more disastrous scenarios. So, how do we break this cycle? It's not about just think positive, which, let's be honest, rarely works. The real antidote is a powerful, logic-based tool that shifts you out of that vague, cloudy worry and into concrete action. We're going to call it the if-then framework. And here's the big shift. That what-if question, what if I totally bomb the interview, is vague, it's emotional, and it's completely paralyzing because there's no answer. But an if-then statement, that's concrete, it's logical, and it's empowering. It literally hands the steering wheel from your emotional, spiraling brain over to your logical, problem-solving prefrontal cortex. And this is so important. The goal here is to give up the impossible job of trying to control the future. You can't. It's a waste of energy. Instead, we are going to focus on the one thing you have absolute power over, your response to the future. That mental shift right there is the key to getting your calm back. All right, let's get our hands dirty and build your first if-then action plan. And I'm serious, if you can, grab a pen and paper. Just the simple act of writing these worries down has this amazing power to pull them out of your head and make them feel smaller. It's a really simple three-step process. First, you just notice and catch that vague what-if fear that's been looping in your head. Second, you get specific. You define the if. What is the actual moment of crisis you're picturing? And third, you craft your then, your pre-planned, actionable response. Let's use a super common example to see how this works. Social anxiety. The big, scary what if is, what if I go to this party and I'm totally awkward and I have no one to talk to and I just stand in the corner? It's a paralyzing thought, right? So let's use our framework to break it down. So instead of that one giant fear, we make these little mini plans. If I walk in and immediately feel overwhelmed, then I have a simple mission: go get a drink. It gives my hands something to do, it breaks that frozen feeling. If I find myself standing alone for more than a minute, then I have a script ready to go. I'll ask another person who's alone how they know the host. And if I really just want to bolt, then I'll make a deal with myself to just stay for 15 more minutes. See how each step replaces that vague panic with a clear, simple job? You're giving your brain something useful to do. Okay, so once you get the hang of that basic framework, you can add two more really powerful tools to your mental toolkit to supercharge this whole thing. First up is something called the worry window. This is a game changer. Instead of letting anxiety pop up and ruin your whole day, you contain it. You schedule, say, 15 minutes at 5 p.m. where you are allowed to worry. That's when you do your if-then planning. So if a what-if thought pops into your head at 10 a.m., you just calmly say, hey brain, I see you. We're going to deal with that at 5 p.m. This simple act of postponing is so powerful because it teaches your brain that you're in charge of the schedule, not the anxiety.
The second technique is called metacognitive awareness. It sounds complicated, but it's basically the scale of thinking about your thinking. It's realizing that you are not your thoughts. Think of your thoughts like clouds passing in the sky. Some are fluffy and nice, others are dark and stormy. You can't stop the clouds from showing up, but you don't have to get in a helicopter and fly into every single storm, right? You can just watch them go by. You're the sky, not the weather. It all comes down to this really simple but powerful choice. You can't stop anxious thoughts from knocking on your door. That's impossible. But you can choose not to invite them in, sit them on your couch, and as this brilliant idea goes, serve them tea. Realizing that you have that choice, the choice not to engage, that's freedom. Okay, so the final and honestly the most important piece of the puzzle is bridging that gap between planning in your head and actually living in the real world. Because at the end of the day, action is the ultimate antidote to overthinking. Your if-then plan isn't meant to keep you safe at home. It's the safety net that gives you the courage to actually climb the ladder. It's there so that if you do stumble, you know you have a way to catch yourself. And knowing that makes you so much more willing to take that first scary step forward. So here's the bottom line. Overthinking is a habit. That's all it is. It's a well-worn path in your brain. And just like any other habit, it might feel permanent, but it can absolutely be changed with practice. With every small action you take, you're proving to your brain that you're more capable and resilient than your anxiety gives you credit for. And now, I'm going to challenge you. What's one what if that's been nagging at you lately? Take a second, think about it, and drop your own if-then plan in the comments below. Seriously, just writing it out and sharing it is a huge first step. Thanks for tuning in. Now go build your plan and take back your calm.